Hola a todos, welcome to my talk. So I'm going to be talking about Firebase and App Script for app development. So I'm Elaine. I work at Sphere. Sphere is an agency based in France. I work mostly with mobile development, a lot of native Android development, but also some Flutter. I really love Flutter. I also work with voice technologies. I'm a GD, Google Developer Expert for the Google Assistant, and of course, I'm a really big fan of Firebase and Apps Script. So I'm going to be giving an intro about those technologies, about Apps Script. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples of things that you can do with that. Little introduction to Firebase, a little bit about Flutter, because the app that I built was built in Flutter, but not that much about it. And then I'm going to give you a real example of a real app that I have in production that is using App Script and Firebase. So you may come with some expectations on this talk. So this is what you can expect. I'm going to be talking a lot about App Script. Because I just, a little survey here to know who here knows App Script, what it is. Oh, one person, okay, that's really good, because in general, people actually don't know about it. So this is why I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking about that. I suppose most of you know Firebase. Yes, of course, because Firebase is awesome. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm using, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that because people know about it. And again, I'm just going to mention Flutter really quickly, only to show you what I used. So why I'm doing that? Before explaining what it is, I'm going to explain you why I'm using those kind of tools. So the first, the image on the left for you, it's representing some kind of over-engineer, right? As software developers, we love tech. I love tech. I love coding. I love using a lot of technologies, a lot of tools to do cool stuff, to do apps, to do really interesting stuff. And we have a bunch of tools that are available to us. As app developers, we have a lot of things, but on the backend side, we have a lot of things to do infrastructure. We can do cloud programming, Kubernetes and stuff, and servers and monitors and things like that. But most of the time, or a lot of the time, we don't need those tools. We don't need that. Of course, for very big apps, for very big corporations, it's very important to have a very robust infrastructure. But sometimes if you want to do a small app, medium apps, even some large apps, I want to show you today that you can use other stuff that it's really easy to deploy, really easy to maintain. And any one of us as app developers, I suppose most of you here are app developers, any server developers? Here, backend developers, okay, one person, welcome. And so yeah, so I just want to show you that basically everyone can use those kind of tools, and engineering, it's not about building the most sophisticated tool, it's choosing the right tool for the right job, right? So this is why I chose those tools. And the second reason is that I love automation. I love automating tasks. We should focus our time when we are engineers, when we are developers, on resolving business problems, doing code that is really useful, and not doing like repeated tasks, doing all the time the same thing. So this is what those tools are all about too. So App Script. So most of you don't know what App Script is. So App Script is a scripting platform that is built into a G Suite product, like Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, Calendar, Gmail, etc. So it's basically everything that you can do with a mouse and a keyboard when you're using Docs, Spreadsheets, Gmail. When you're doing everything manually, you can script it, and you can automate everything. So some examples of things that you can do. On Docs, Spreadsheets, Forms, you can add custom menus, dialogues, and sidebars. On Spreadsheets, of course, on Spreadsheets, you can think of some kind of automation. For those who do some Excel programming, like doing some functions and macros, you can totally do that too. You can even create and publish web apps through Google Sites. App Script is running on Google servers, so of course you can expect a very good Google integration with a bunch of Google services. You can build add-ons for all the Drive products, and you can even build the chatbots using Hangouts. So let's see some examples of things that I have done. The first one is actually a real kind of trivial example, only to show you the power of what you can do. Sorry for that. Should I zoom, or can everyone see all right? Yes, it's fine? A little bit bigger? How can, I don't know if I can do, okay, yes. So here you can see I'm at script.google.com. You can either, you have two ways of creating those scripts. You can either go directly to script.google.com, or you can go on, I will show you later, you can go on any spreadsheet or Google Doc and do more and script editor, something like that. I'll show you later. You'll see. So you can see right here, I have embedded IDE to the web, directly in the web browser. And here you can see I have this code.js file that is open. So JS stands for Google Script. Google Script is basically JavaScript. I don't know why they have changed the name, but it's basically JavaScript. So here you can see that I can even have some other files too, if I want. And here I have the declaration of a function. So right here on this example, it's an example of interacting with Google Docs and Google Drive. So right here you can see I can declare a variable like this using the document app API, which is basically going to connect with the Google Docs. So right here I'm going to put hello DroidCon, the name of my document. And then through this reference here, I'm going to get the body and then automatically, programmatically append a paragraph. So this document was created by Google Apps Script during DroidCon Madrid. Nice. And then I'm just going to have a reference to the URL of the document. Every Google document has a URL, so I'm getting in here. Next step, I'm getting the email of the person that is logged, since it is me that is going to execute it, so it's going to be my email. And to build the email, I'm getting the name of the doc that I have defined here. I'm fetching it from the doc reference right here. I'm just putting a string to, creating a string to create the body of the email, and then through the Gmail API, I'm calling a function send email with the email of the person that is connected, the subject that I have put here, and the body that I have put here. And as you can see, I have changed the code, and it has a little asterisk right here. That means that the changes have not been saved, so I'm doing Command S only to save it. And right here you can see I can select a function to execute it. So I'm going to run it. Hopefully it will work, so it didn't say anything. And if I go to my email inbox, hopefully, yes, I have, you can see I have the email that has been sent to me with all of the information that I have specified, and even the doc that was also created through my script, so really nice. I want to show you too in this example that this is a very, very basic idea, right? This is embedded on the web browser. There's only so much that you can do on the web browser, but you have even some basic debugging functions. You can put breakpoints on the IDE right here, and I can choose the debugging. Oh, I'm too zoomed in, sorry. I can use the debugging option right there, so you can see I can debug my code and see the variables that I'm using, so pretty nice. I have some pretty nice debugging features like step in, step over, step out, and stuff like that. So pretty nice. So this was the first example. Let's close all of this. So this one was to show you that it works, of course, really well with all of the Google products, but this file right here, this is running on the cloud, of course. This is managed automatically by Google, and it's running on the web. So what it means is that you have access to the internet, to all of the APIs that are accessible through the web, right? So on this example, this was actually an example that I used on a previous client that I had. They used Trello a lot, Trello to do some kind of project management. And they used a lot of boards. And the project manager was having a really hard time tracking all of the status of the different boards. So what we did is that we used the Trello APIs. And you can see right here, this is how you do an API call. Trello has a really nice API. This is, I'm basically doing a URL fetch with this right here. Of course, I have the token and the consumer key that is set up. There are a lot of convenient functions that you can use to parse the data. And what I'm doing here, I'm not going to go into the details, but basically I'm getting some information on the boards of the API that the Trello API has given me. And I have decided on some colors and some stuff to actually set values on a spreadsheet. So we can see the result right here. So this is what it looks like. This is the final result, and I can even show you in real time. I'm going to select the function, is this one. I'm going to run it, so you can see it running in real time. It did the API call to Trello, and it's writing right here in real time on this spreadsheet, so really useful. It was really useful for our project manager to have this kind of tool. And what I wanted also to show you with this example is that you can have triggers. I have to disable this. So, of course, I'm not going to go every time here and select my function and then run it every day or every week. No, this is just too boring for me. This should be automated. So you can do some time-based triggers. So you can see on this project right here, I have two. We can see that those are time-based and the name of the function that is going to be executed. And we can see the executions right here. So you can see that it's running every hour. So you can plan, you can schedule your functions to run every minute, every hour, every day, every week. It depends on your function, right? What you want to do. So pretty nice. The next one's a personal project that I have. Oh yes, and I can show you right here. This is the spreadsheet. And as I said to you, you can either go to script.google.com to start a new project, or from Google Doc or Google Spreadsheet, you can go to Tools and Script Editor, and it will launch the script.google.com interface, and that has a parent project, which is this spreadsheet right here. So this project that I did for myself was actually to do some kind of news reading for me. It's basically a news feed for myself. What I'm doing right here, you can see on the constants file, I have a bunch of news sources that I want to follow. Some of them are in English and some of them are in French. And those are the keywords that I want to follow. Oh, I should maybe zoom in a little bit if you're not seeing. The keywords that I want to follow, those are the topics that I'm interested in. And what I'm doing, I'm not going to show you all of the code, but those are RSS feeds, right? So I'm basically doing a URL fetch and then parsing the XMLs. And then I'm looking for those keywords on the name of the news, and if it matches, so for example here, if the news title has the name Android, I'm going to be putting a new line on the spreadsheet right here. I have, this script is running for the last 3 years, I think, and it's really useful for me for like seeing all the news and not going to different sources. And what I wanted to do with this tool is to see when some kind of news was really buzzing or really being posted by a lot of sources. So to do that, I calculate some kind of similarity between the strings, all of that on the script, right? And if my similarity algorithm, which is really basic, finds that the news are similar, it's going to make, it's not going to change the color, right? So you can see from this to this, it's changing colors because it thinks it's different. So right here you can see on this block, it's because on, on December 12, a lot of people were talking about interpreted mode on Google Assistant. So it was the main news on the Google Assistant. So again, so really useful for me to make my news reading. And of course, I have a scheduled time-driven trigger, I think 4 times a day, something like that. I parse all of this news right here. I do all of those treatments, so it's really useful for me. This one is using the Twitter and Instagram APIs for a personal project that I never finished, but whatever. It's, the idea behind it was to get some information about some music bands that I liked with a friend. So right here you can see there's only one sheet that it's for the Twitter account for Muse, because we really liked Muse. And again, Twitter has nice APIs that you can use, Instagram as well. And then we are fetching the the tweets, putting them here to have a nice visualization. And what was really interesting too on this project is that we were also writing this data on Firebase in order to use it on a mobile app. To easily do it on a mobile app. So by doing a post, I think it's a put call to Firebase. We did the JSON to be written to Firebase manually, which may be not ideal, but it worked really well. And we can see right here, we were writing to the RealTime database because Firestore didn't exist at the time. So we were writing all of these tweets right here. So basically I have a whole day, all of the tweets by Muse since forever on this Firebase database that we're actually not using, but it's really nice to see that you can do those kinds of integration so easily, and it's still running, as you can see. Oh, it's not. Yes, as you can see, the last one is from December 13. And the last one, it was actually really impressive for me because this is not at all from me. This is from someone from my team on the client that I'm actually working. I'm working for an e-commerce client. So you know, analytics is a really, really big thing. And implementing analytics on an app is such a boring job. You have to get all of these tags and all of these values right, and you have to put it on the right places and track the events, track the screens, track converting, and such a hassle. And since it's such a repetitive job, you can do a lot of mistakes. So what my colleague has made is that he has made, those are the tags used by analytics, and then they have, it's for an iOS and Android app. So this is doing like the mapping of the corresponding values on the apps, and with a bunch of other values too. And the thing is that the analytics team, they will provide us with this really big table, right? This really big spreadsheet, and they say, oh, just tag the app using all of this gigantic data. So, oh my God, so boring. And normally what we would do like copying and pasting and doing stuff like that. So he came up with this idea of exporting a JSON that would be used on the iOS project, on an Android project, by using this data right here, and it would have a really nice mapping that could be used really nicely on the iOS and Android app. And what you can see right here is that he has used the add menu feature So you can see on this example right here, he's getting the active spreadsheet, declaring some menu entries. So export JSON for iOS, export JSON for Android, and behind that, we just have to declare the functions that are going to be called. So when I do like export JSON for Android, because we don't care about iOS right now, it is parsing all of it is running the function right there, and I have this JSON file that I can select, I can copy, I can put it on my Android project and use it in a much more easy way. So really nice. So yes, if you're not yet convinced, how do I, oh yes. Oops. If you're not yet convinced that those tools, so all of that, I didn't say that you don't need any kind of specific permissions to do that. You don't have, because you know for Google Docs, a G Suite, you have the basic level. It's everyone here has a Gmail account, so everyone has this kind of access. And you also have the G Suite Pro users. But everything that I have shown you right here, I have done it with my personal account, and everyone here can use it. If you want even more cool examples, there's this G Suite GDE that has a really nice blog where he shows a lot of interesting examples. Martin Hoxsey from UK. I totally encourage you to check it out. So this was for Apps Script. Again, Firebase, I'm going to go really quickly because I think most of you know about it. It's a set of tools provided not only for mobile developers, but more and more even web developers in order to build better apps, right? So doing some kind of basic database, analytics. For those of you who are using Fabric, Fabric is going to go away really soon in March of 2020 because Fabric has been acquired by Google. So Crashlytics and Beta from Fabric, that's now named App Distribution on Firebase, is going to take over. So please, if you're on Fabric, do your migration. It's really easy. I have done it for my project. Migrated to Firebase. And what else? Cloud messaging. You can do static web hosting. You can store basic images. Can you do testing on the cloud, on emulators, or even physical devices with the test lab? So yeah, so a bunch of features. I think everyone who here is using on a production app. Production, cool. And for personal projects. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, so I think most of you know of it. It's really awesome. Maybe those of you who use push notifications are using Firebase because everyone has to use FCM. So yes, so most of you know about it. And very, very quickly, Flutter. Who here knows Flutter? Yes. People here don't know Flutter. You don't know what it is? Oh, yes, you know. Okay. You're just don't want to show your hand. So yes, Flutter is this toolkit for building apps, not only mobile, but also for the web and desktop. For the web that I have pushed to production, I'm using it, and it's working really well, and I'm really happy with it. So yeah, so let's go to the app that I have made using those tools that I have just talked to you about, right? So, as I said, I'm passionate about building nice products, building cool projects, and it's not that I don't like server code, don't hate me. Is that, again, as I said, sometimes I just don't need an App Engine instance or something that is running on Amazon or something like that. It's just not needed at all, so this is what I have come up with. So this is the architecture of the app that I have made. I didn't know if I would call it a basic CMS or some kind of content database, that it's basically on a Google spreadsheet. I have all of my data there that I put in manually. I could automate that, but it's not that important for me right now. So all of the content of the app that I show, like the database, is on a simple spreadsheet. Through the power of Apps Script, I can put it on a Firebase database. Right here, I'm using Cloud Firestore. And what you should know too is that Firebase has very good integration with Flutter, with the Flutter framework. So I think all of the solutions that are provided by Firebase can be used on a Flutter app through Flutter packages. So no problem at all on that note. So really cool. And what I wanted to say about that too. No, so yeah. So I think again, of course, this shouldn't be the solution for every app. But I think that today, a bunch of apps, even professional apps, don't need this big infrastructure, right? And I think this is sufficient for a lot of use cases, and even professional use cases, little apps, stuff like that. This is completely, this is enough. And, and as you could see, I have zero maintenance. Everything is stored automatically for me. I don't need to monitor anything. Everything is just working. I have never encountered any problem with any kind of this, with this data. And what is really cool too, is that especially the first one, Google Sheets, everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows what an Excel file looks like. It's a table with rows and columns, and you can give it out to your client, to your customer, and basically just showing to them, okay, maybe you should put your data, your business data here. And just, of course, they have to respect some kind of rules, but everyone knows what it is, and it's really easy to use, and anyone can use it. So, as I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Firebase, but I wanted to show you, just going to do something right here to show some interesting data. No, not this, this. So this is the Firebase project for the Flutter app that I have put into production. So you can see there's an Android and iOS app that is attached to it. So really quickly, I'm just going to show you going to change tabs because they're okay. Because they're real emails we're going to show there. I don't want to put the emails of my users. Yes, oh no, then it's better right, like this. I have a login on my app, so it was really easy to implement it with Firebase Authentication. As you can see, we have a bunch of providers. For me, I have used only, at the beginning, I had only Google, and also Anonymous for those who didn't want to use the Google sign-in. And they have added the Apple sign-in maybe 1 month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And since I'm pushing also to, I'm putting my app also to iOS, I said, okay, maybe this is a cool feature for iOS users. So I have enabled it. It was really easy to integrate it on my app. And of course, I could do a bunch of others providers too. So this worked really well for me. Just going to trying to do something here, only to show you some interesting data after. As I said, I'm fetching my data, my business data is on a spreadsheet. Through the app script, I'm writing all of this data and updating it to a Firestore. So this is basically the data that I'm showing on my app. Not really interesting, but I'm using Cloud Firestore. I could have used the RealTime database. Both could work well for me. You should really think about it using RealTime database or Cloud Firestore. There are advantages and inconveniences for each one. And for me, I never had used the Firestore before, so I used it for this project. As I said, you can store static files. I could use it. I'm not using it right now. For my example, for my app, I could use it for storing images that I show on my app. I could put it here. Hosting, I can host static websites. If I do a web version of my app, I could host it on this project right here. It could be totally possible. Functions is basically the app script of Firebase. It's automating tasks inside of Firebase. I have one cloud function that is running, but I have not written it. You can see user delete. I'm going to be talking about that later. MLKit, very trendy right now. It's about doing machine learning on device. You have some kind of image processing that you can integrate. I don't have any needs for that right now. Text recognition, face recognition, barcode scanning, stuff like that is provided. It's provided by this tool right here. As I said, Crashlytics. Very important. I think most of you here know about Crashlytics or any other crash reporting. Very important when you are pro developer. Just going to show you, since I don't have that many users, I don't have that many crashes. But you can see the crashes that have impacted your users, what kind of devices they were using, the operating system, and exactly what was your crash. As you can see, this is a Flutter project, so this is Dart code, and so I can see right here in which file and which line on the file it has occurred. And then you have even some details about the device. I can see here that this can be useful, for example, knowing how much space he had left, because maybe I was trying to write something on the disk and he didn't have any space left on his device, and I didn't manage that case, and I say, okay, this is because he had maybe 10 megabytes left, so really useful. Crashlytics. Performance, the performance thing, I have done the basic integration. It's fine. It gives you some kind of metrics to show how well your app is performing. So right here I can see the app start trace that has, it's kind of slower, not that much, from version 1.54 to 1.60. So I can say, oh, maybe I'm doing some kind of non-performant code right here. So yes, I have only integrated it, so I don't have a lot of data, but can be really useful. And as I said, I did a really dummy integration of it. I only integrated the dependency and it started doing metrics for me. And if you want, you can do custom traces. If you want to really track one kind of, I don't know, network calls or stuff like that, you can do on your code, start recording here and here, and it would end up on this dashboard right here, which is really useful. Test Lab, as I said, can be really cool to do your tests that you write. Then you can run on the cloud, either on emulator or physical devices. App distribution is the new beta, is the new way of providing your app to the tests. I have done for iOS, so really basic. I have put a version right here. I have invited a test. I have invited myself with another email. And because, of course, this is a personal project, so it's not a real, I don't have real testers. You can either put your IPA or APK through this browsing right here, or of course, for Android, you have a Gradle task. You have a Gradle task that you can execute to send automatically the APK to this interface right here and send the notification to your testers. So really nice. Analytics. Pretty boring, right? It's only to see what your users are doing, so you can focus on maybe improving your screens. What I wanted to show you here on this particular case is that, as I said, my app is a Flutter app. So basically, it's saying that, okay, I've been showing Flutter views, right? So this is a little bit of a downside, not that bad, Because, as I said, it's showing the screen class automatically right here. It's tracking the screen class, but I can switch it to screen name to see exactly what kind of pages were seen by the users. What else I want to show you right here? This, if it has worked. Yes, so I can see in real time people that are using my app, which is really cool. So one person in Berlin, one person in Paris. I think this Paris session is actually my phone, because this is what I was doing on my phone right here. I was doing some actions to only to show you that this view right here, which I find really cool. Maybe it's because I have a French SIM card. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, so I am another person for Berlin. And you can see, I don't know, it's just pretty cool to see what kind of people are doing, are using your app. The debug view for the people who do your analytics, you can show it to them. And then the prediction, I'm not going to go into the detail. You can do cloud messaging. Everyone here knows what it is about. Remote config is really nice. It's basically, I can open it. I'm not using it right now, but it's really, some bug because I'm too zoomed in. Oh. Okay. This is really nice. It's basically key and values that you can change anytime right here on this interface, and basically enable and disable features that you want on your app according to those values. So really nice to use that. So yeah, so last but not least, I told you that I had this function, right, that was activated, and this is thanks to this extension that is provided by the Firebase interface, which is really nice. There are other ones, basically automating stuff for your project. So yeah, so this is what I'm doing. So this is are the products that I'm using right now on the left. And on the right, the ones that I want to use, really happy about it, no problem at all. Last thing I want to show you before making a conclusion is that the app that I have published, I published it here, and then I decided to make a Reddit post about it on a forum of potential users. And I said, maybe one person will see and download it and it will be fine. No, actually a lot of people downloaded it, and I reached the, what you should know also about Firebase is that you have quotas, and I reached the free quota real quickly, like in 24 hours, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay for a project that I don't make money with. And I was like, and then I did the math real quickly. If I switched to the paying quota, even if I paid, it would be maybe not that much money. And I also had some cloud credits thanks to other projects. So I had like $100, so it was fine. So okay, I'll just change the plan and see what happens. And as I said, I'd reached the quota. So when you reach the free quota, all of the reads and writes on, this was for Firestore, all of the reads and writes, they fail. So my app was unusable for like 10 minutes, but I made the decision, I switched it, and immediately it started working. So it's really nice to see that you can do that right away. And at the end of the day, I paid 3 cents for the additional queries that I was doing. So it was really, really, really cheap. So in conclusion, I hope that I convinced you that Apps Script is a really, really powerful tool that everyone can use to automate tasks, generate some reporting, and even building a lightweight CMS for your own projects. Firebase, awesome tools to app development. And again, Flutter Dev is real cool. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, yes?
How much did it cost you in the end for the users? How many users did you have?
On the project, active users, I have maybe 30, 40 a day. maybe 100, 200 a month. And I am still on the paying tier, but it's costing 0 for me right now.
So if you had 100,000 users, roughly how much?
It depends on the project. You should check the quotas. And also what I didn't say is that on the beginning, also, because when I was here, I was like, yes, my code was not optimized at all. I was not looking to optimize it because it's a personal project. It's okay. I'll just push it to production. People will use it. And if I have to change something, I'll change it. And it was really, really not optimized. And then, of course, afterwards, I optimized it. I did a lossless calls to Firebase. And I'm really, really far from the quota, the paying quota today. So I'm good with this. Yes. You can do so much with a lot. You can do really, really a lot only with the free quota, but maybe, yes, as you say, with 100,000 users, maybe you should, you're going to pay a little bit, but again, it's not going to be that much because like 1 million, 10 million calls that you can do, something like that. You should read the Firestore or the RealTime database documentation to see that. I don't have on the top of my mind what the quotas are. Yes?
You had problems with this Firebase config. If you change the vision flag, and I had some troubles with some.
Oh, really? You have remote config?
Remote.
Yes? You had problems with it? Okay.
And I had such problems that on the same code on some devices works okay, and on another devices it fails to fetch
The new value. Oh, interesting. And you don't know, you still have this problem? No, you don't know? That's really interesting for me because I wanted to use on at my client.
Maybe problems with proxy connections or unstable connections, then it fails. But on one device it always is okay, but I didn't.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So not that reliable. Interesting, very interesting. Another thing too that I didn't show you for not Firebase but for Apps Script, as you see, the code. Unfortunately, the code that you have to do is kind of JavaScript. I really dislike JavaScript. When I do this code, even for doing basic stuff, I have to Google it because I don't know how to write JavaScript and I don't like it. And what you have to note with AppScript is that they also have APIs. They have a Java API, so you could technically write a Kotlin code that could to use AppScript. I really want to, for a new project, this is what I'm going to do. But all of the projects that I show you are old projects, so interesting. Yes?
Privacy. So something about having all of my users and authentication and everything in one spot makes me feel nervous. Who owns the users? Who owns the data?
Well, of course, all the Firebase is the Google product, so all of this data are stored in Google services. But again, so many people, of course, they are compliant, right, with all of these privacy issues and privacy problems. And there's actually also I didn't say that the function that I had is actually for automating when a person deletes its account. I'm deleting all of the data that is associated with this account on Firestore. So of course, who owns the data? Well, it's stored on Google services, but of course you're responsible of managing the data. For this example, when your user is deleting the account, you have to take the time to delete all of the data that is related to it, and of course to be compliant. We are in Europe, you have to be compliant with the GDPR, and if the user asks for the data, you have to have some kind of task to send all of the data if he asks for it. But yeah, so it's not less, more or less. I don't know. What bothers you is that the user data is going to be stored in Firebase and not on your own servers that you can control.
No, I mean, you can have authentication in one place, and the database in another place.
Oh, the problem is having everything on the same. I find it convenient, but maybe yes. But you can do another authentication solution too. I just find it so easy to integrate that. Yeah, I really enjoy using. Have no problems at all with it. Of course, no. Yes, you can only do real-time database. You can only do I don't know storage or cloud notifications, stuff like that.